What's up, ladies and gents? Luke Hobson here from the Iron University podcast. Today's episode of the podcast is special because we have our first guest. We have my great friend, Mike Witham of Fitness Diaries. Mike shares an incredible and motivating story that will inspire you to overcome whatever you are facing. After talking with Mike, I was ready to go out and conquer the world, and I know you're going to feel the same way. You can follow Mike and his page Fitness Diaries in a variety of ways that I've linked to in the webpage for the show. Get ready for our best episode yet. Coming at you in 3, 2, 1. You like how I gave you the countdown anyway, just in case?
Yeah.
I wanted to give you the full and authentic feel of what it's like to be on the Iron University podcast since you're the first guest. So it's like you got to get the 100% legitimate feel, and that involves techno music.
Definitely.
So I got to say, man, I am so happy and honored that you're going to be on this podcast, but really just want to say first and foremost, thank you, because without you, brother, there would be no Iron University podcast.
Dude, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for just saying that. Seriously.
Because 100% hands down, when I first thought about this idea where it was this like, there's nobody out there who's taking learning and putting it with fitness. And that's why so many people are quitting on their goals when they know what to do, but they can't get there. And I was like, all right, who can I run this by that knows what like he or she's talking about? I'm like, oh, dude, I'll call Mike. And I remember I ran it by you as like fast as humanly as possible since I was so excited and my speech was just kicked up like wicked fast. Just throwing it at you. It was like, what about this? What about this? And you're like, yeah, dude, do it. Like, no one else is doing it. Do it. Like, okay.
I remember that conversation. I was in my old apartment, dude. You were pumped. And like, seriously, just the fact that you were pumped, like, just think about this. Just think if the podcasting didn't even exist, okay? It didn't even exist. It wasn't a thing. And you could have been like just talking gibberish, but the fact that you were so passionate about it, that's why I said you got to go for it. Because it doesn't matter if it's a popular thing or a not popular thing. If you are passionate about something, you have to go for it. And you will be successful at it because people will see that, they'll feel that. And that's what
Absolutely.
matters.
I think by now people probably feel that, as my energy, I'm fairly certain, has skyrocketed more and more every episode of the podcast. It's either that or it's because I'm drinking more and more coffee. So yeah. one of the two is happening.
It's the combination, bro.
Clearly, it is the combination of everything. So, brother, since you are the first person to be on this podcast, can you give the audience a little bit of background about yourself, who you are, and everything of that nature, too, in regards to fitness, health, wellness, and all those other topics?
Yeah, dude. All right. So, obviously, my name is Michael Witham. I am the man behind Fitness Diaries. So I don't like to use my real name because in my blog, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about life, and I want it to be about fitness in all aspects that are engulfed in both of those things. And I mean, right now, and that's the thing. What I do is I share my life. I share my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences, my knowledge, everything to help other people, and maybe not even just help them, just to relate to them, give them content. Sometimes they just need motivation. Sometimes they need information. If I could be that guy, I'm a regular dude. I work a 9 to 5. I went to school. I'm trying to make a living on my own, but I'm trying to have fitness a part of my life. And for me, it's a huge part of my life. It's helped me get through so much. And because of that, I could see the power health and fitness has. And that's why I want to share my journey and my story with people, because sometimes they need to know the power that health and fitness has. and allowing it to be a part of your life. So, whether you're going through financial struggle or relationships or whatever it may be, schooling, fitness could help. And I'm not saying like, fitness is the answer, but it is definitely a part of the puzzle. Like, I totally believe that if you are not, I think health and happiness go hand in hand, hand in hand. And I don't think you are truly happy unless you have a foundation of health in your life. And that's physical, emotional, mental, like it's everything. And honestly, like, I mean, I compete in bodybuilding. Like I said, I do a 9 to 5. I try to show people that it is possible. Well, I mean, whether you compete or not, you don't have to compete, but it's possible to be a healthy and fit, active person and still live a whatever life you are living. Whether you're a parent, a student, whatever it is. Like, I just I want to promote and spread the gifts of life and fitness.
And you do. You clearly do. For anyone who hasn't followed Mike on anything yet for his social media channels, and I'll be sure to put all of the different types of links inside of his show notes just so that people can follow you at Fitness Diaries. But when I read Fitness Diaries and how I read that, it's like I really do read it as in like I am a part of your life, because you always start off saying like, dear diary, this is what I went through today. And it's either something that's like empowering, where you have like a fantastic workout and you're killing it at your job and everything like that, or it shows the real side of saying like, man, today just sucked and this is what happened. So I definitely appreciate that your posts are genuine. I never feel like this guy might be shady or he's kind of on the fence. It's just like, no, this is legit what happened in Mike's day. I can see it in clear black and white.
I do not look at Fitness Diaries as a social media platform or anything like that. When I write in the beginning, it was a diary. It wasn't anybody else, and I still look at it that way. So when I'm writing things down, I'm not thinking about what are people going to think of me. What can I do for them? I'm just putting my thoughts, my feelings, whatever is going on in my life that I need to just let out and let go. I'm putting it out there, and I figured this is where it was kind of a game changer for me. It was before Fitness Diaries, the Instagram and the Facebook and the YouTubes. Before that, it was my way of just letting out my emotions, letting go of my emotions. But I realized that wasn't enough. It wasn't like I was just writing it down and sort of letting it out, but I wasn't confiding in somebody. And that's what I needed. I needed to confide in somebody. I needed that to overcome that sort of fear of what are people going to think of me? How are they going to perceive me? What kind of like negative things can they say to me? And thank God, and I'm so blessed to have the people and the support I do, because none of that has happened. I have the most supportive people behind Fitness Diaries. It's ridiculous.
So for everyone out there who likes to troll, you can find Mike at Fitness. No, just kidding.
Hey, bring it on. Bring it on. Like, seriously.
No. Everyone who listens to the Iron University podcast, all of the listeners have been same thing as well. You're talking about everyone so far has just been incredibly kind and supportive and giving positive feedback about the show. So I really doubt you're gonna have one or two trolls out there, unless if like you really try to poke them and say like, hey, please come aboard my channel. It's okay. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of, and I was talking to Vince about a coworker today, and I was just like, Fitness Diaries actually reminds me a lot of, remember when LiveJournal was a thing? it's like live journal, but on steroids to see into somebody's actual life, because now you're putting in like the videos behind it and the pictures and everything else too. So now it's like this complete in-depth look at your life, which I really don't think is out there. I see people doing different things like vlogs and stuff like that, but it's not the
there
same.
are
If that makes
levels to
sense.
transparency. And I think people can be transparent with their life. I mean, you see all these YouTubers, they are very, like, how do you cannot hide behind a camera. You can't. It's there. You could definitely hide behind a picture you post on Facebook or Instagram and write a motivational quote, but you can't hide with YouTube to a certain extent. There is editing.
Yeah, exactly.
But with me, I've taken that transparency to a whole new level. I'm not just showing you my life. I'm letting you inside my heart, my head, everything, like my life, everything. And like I said, I'm not just talking to one person. I'm talking to my diary, and I'm just letting that be either an outlet for somebody, uh, a place they could go and kind of learn about health and fitness, whatever it is. That's what I want it to be. If it's just a good read for them, awesome. Or if it's just a dude that's shredded, that is, they're looking at the pictures. Like, I try to be, not only am I trying to be transparent, I'm trying to be just me and show all aspects. And that is to relate to everybody that wants to support Fitness Diaries, whether it's just to look at a picture or learn or relate. Because especially for me, man, like, before Fitness Diaries, I know what it felt like to be alone. And
Yeah, dude, let's talk about that, man, because we're talking about everything that you have gotten to today, but I still don't know, even though I've known you personally for, oh man, when did we take that class in college? 2010?
we're aging ourselves.
Oh man, it's 30th birthday is coming up this week, and I'm like, no, please no, don't let it happen.
You're hitting the dirty 30.
The dirty 30. And I already had a dirty 30 surprise party. Carissa threw me a surprise party. So I already feel like I am 30.
Yep.
Like, it hasn't even happened yet.
Oh,
Oh, it's a good time. But anyway, so I've known you for so long, but I don't even know where your fitness journey started from originally. So what made you want to get into the gym, eat healthy, and just pick up the iron in the first place?
So this is a very long story, okay? But
Go for it, man.
I'm just going to throw it out there, and I'm going to try to shorten it up. But the way I look at life, the way I look at my fitness journey is it's kind of, this is another reason why I say Fitness Diaries. It's a book. We are all writing our books, our diaries, our journals, whatever it is. And in these books, there are chapters. My book started, and the first chapter started in college. Okay? And believe it or not, when I tell people this, after they've read Fitness Diaries and they see how passionate I am about health and fitness, before I started lifting, eating healthy, any of this, before fitness was a part of my life, I hated it.
Really?
I hated it. I didn't like sweating. I didn't like lifting heavy things. I despised training, and I ate Pop-Tarts, pizza. I didn't care.
Things have changed.
Things have
just throwing it out there.
And so my chapters and my story is the chapters are my transitions, and my transition to where I am now was a very long one. Now, with the information that's out today, people are going 0 to 100 right quick. I mean, they're going from not doing anything, and now they're competing. You know what I mean? Like, my story is a lot longer. So it started in college, and like I was 130 pounds. I was a skinny kid, and like I said, I didn't like lifting. And in addition to all of this, and this is where Fitness Diaries comes in, behind everything, behind the skinny kid, okay, I was going through a lot, a lot. I grew up a lot less fortunate than everybody. So I'm seeing all my friends, everybody in school have all these things, and it lowered my self-esteem. It made me hate my life, and I had an abusive father who was a drug addict and alcoholic, and and then he ran off on us. When I was 15 years old, he bounced, and it tore me down. Although it was the best thing that could have happened to our family, it beat me down because I didn't have that role model anymore. I didn't have that superhero to look up to and kind of guide me to my life. So all the way up to college, I just was so inside, hiding behind this smile. I was depressed. I hated who I was. I hated my life. And we all know what happens in college. We get to do what we want. And when we, in college, that includes drinking alcohol.
Say get fat. We all get fat in college.
Here's another thing. So I went, like, when I started drinking, it was my way of escaping my reality. And my reality hurt. So I drank every day, every single day. And I didn't want to start going to the gym because I was drinking all day, and that's unhealthy. And it was definitely unhealthy for somebody that was in my situation emotionally. But I started, this is going to sound so funny. I started to get a belly. And I'm like, nope, because again, like, my self-esteem was already so damaged. I started to get a belly, and I'm like, no way. No, I can't get fat. No way. So I asked my best friend, who was, he played football in high school, and very athletic guy. This dude is a brick shit house, big dude. And I'm like, I need help. I need to figure out how to get rid of this. And I knew, so he sort of started to train me, and just to burn some calories and get rid of this stomach that I had. And this is where my first transition happened. So I'm starting to go to the gym every day, every night after school with him, just to lose this belly. But I started to realize, and I started to see that not only I'm trying to achieve this goal of not being fat, I've realized it's giving me a way of not drinking. I don't have to drink. I'm letting out my emotions on the iron in the gym. And I'm like, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on myself and, kind of improving me, not just physically, but emotionally. And so what happened was I went from every night of drinking to only on the weekends. So Monday through Friday, I worked out, and it was a step. It was a baby step, but it was a step. So all this depression I had, and anger and sadness, all of this was finally being sort of released in the gym. And in addition, I'm becoming healthier. But I was still drinking on the weekends. And what happened was I was condensing that Monday to Sunday drinking to 2 days. So I was drinking a lot. And this whole transition, man, it took forever. So it went from just to the weekends. And again, like, I was fighting because I'm like, why am I working out, trying to better myself all week to just ruin it on the weekends? And like I said, this happened up until senior year of college. And then it finally went down to one night. But again, here we go. I condensed everything in one night. And that's when things got really bad for me. So not only am I just drinking way too much, I'm blacking out, and I'm letting to the point where I can't control anymore. I can't control my emotions. I can't control my reactions to what's happening. And I was doing some really bad things. And and I was letting my depression get to me. And again, it was still my escape. It was my escape from reality because I was still, although lifting weights in fitness just started to distract me, I it let me let out my emotions, but for a temporary moment of time. I still had the memories, man. I still had the memories. I still have those feelings I have inside. So I started becoming, and this is where it hurts, man. This is where it really hurts. I started to try to kill myself. I got really suicidal to the point where I did it. Uh, my senior year of college, I drowned myself, man.
Holy shit! I had
And
no idea.
yeah, I drowned myself, and the only reason I'm here is my friends busted down the locked door and pulled me out and gave me CPR and called the ambulance, and I woke up the next day in a gown, butt ass naked, with my younger brother right next to me. And you would think that would open my eyes, and it did for a moment of my life. Because after that, I graduate college, my mom passes away.
Right.
And and that was the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. Ever. On top of everything that I've gone through my entire life, this happens, and I was done, man. I was done. I felt dead. I figured, why not just finish it off? So all of this stuff that I fixed came back, and I started to get depressed and suicidal, and my drinking came back. And although, and again, the only reason I was able to sustain life was because fitness, man, because I had a way of letting out my emotions. What I'm telling you, like when my mom passed, all I would do is eat, sleep, and lift because obviously I'm hungry. You gotta eat. I mean, there's no doubt we're human beings. We need to feed ourselves. That's but sleeping because I didn't want to think about it. I and when I was thinking about it, when I was awake, all I wanted to do was let out that anger and that sadness. So I just went to the gym. I'm telling you, man, like in like 2 weeks, I gained like 8 to 10 pounds.
Oh.
And like that again, this new chapter in my life went on forever and ever. And then somehow, like you remember the old Gold's gym that was next to the college?
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Yeah. That was kind of like that was my saving grace. I started to go there, and I started to see old school bodybuilders, old school pros, people that were just really passionate about fitness. And one of the guys, he just recommended. He's like, because again, like I was in good shape then, and it wasn't because I was trying to compete or any. It was because I was so focused on bettering myself that and bettering not just like I'm bettering myself as like physically, emotionally, mentally, and it just sort of kind of developed this physique. And he's like, "Do you compete?" And I'm like, "No, I don't compete. What do you mean?" He's like, "You need to compete, man." And so I started doing research, and even to this day, I will never say, as much as passionate as I am about competing, I will never say to anybody they should compete. That is up to them. Don't ever compete unless it's your decision, because you've already ruined it from the very start if you don't.
Mm.
So I started to look into it, and I mean, it took me a solid, I want to say almost a year before I'm like, you know what? I'm going to compete. So this is where everything sort of changed for me. So up until this point, it was lifting to let out my emotions and better myself physically. And then the diet came. So I started to just research and research and research until I couldn't research anymore, because again, like I'm not going to compete just to compete. I'm competing because I want to do the best I absolutely can. And another thing was it was could I step on stage? Like again, I had a lot of self-esteem problems. I couldn't pick, like I had trouble doing public speaking in school. I was very shy. I didn't have a lot of friends because I was so shy. And I'm like, and this is where the hashtag comes. I love the word overcome, because when we can overcome, we get stronger, we get smarter, we get better. And I said, I just committed myself. I paid for my NPC card. I paid for the show. And I'm like, I'm not spending all this money because I didn't have much money, dude. I didn't have much money.
Competing's expensive, bro. So that's, yeah.
It is so expensive. But I was just like, I need to do this for me. I need to make my mom proud. Like that, let's just do it. So that was and so I did it. All right. I did the show. I forget how long my prep was, but I want to say it was probably about 10 to 12 weeks, which is typical. It's a typical prep. But again, like through this 10 to 12 weeks, I was just learning. I didn't know anything about macros. I didn't know anything about post workouts and pre workouts and the carbs and all this stuff. I didn't know. So as I'm trying to diet down, I'm learning. And even at the very end, my friends are like, "Are you carbing up?" And I'm like, "What do you mean carbing up? What's that?"
so that's incredible, and I have to definitely stop you right there. Well, for one, bro, thank you for sharing everything. Oh my gosh, I had no idea about so many things you just went into. So thank you for sharing that with everyone over here for the audience. But the way how I'm just thinking of that entire story that you told, you took those baby steps, those transitions, and now we're talking about you going from not knowing literally anything years ago to now stepping on stage. And even stepping on stage, you still don't have all the answers and you're still learning.
Yes,
And
totally.
that is incredible. And I think that is what people need to hear more of, because of course they don't see that on social media. You just would magically go from being fat to shredded on stage. Like, how'd that happen? And that's just like, no, like, listen to what Mike was saying, is that he didn't just go from being super ripped to now like even more incredibly jacked and ripped over like a month's period. It's like, no, you found someone who mentored you, you found help, you found research, like you practice what you were trying to learn about. Clearly, as you were saying, you were doing this numerous times of lifting at least 5 days a week. And even the transitioning too from because I was having to do the same thing too, of how my drinking was also consumed all in like one day.
Yeah.
And that never was good for anything, because the next day that also got ruined because of the previous night. Obviously, it's not like you wake up being like, oh, I can't wait to go to the gym. It's like, no, I'm praying for death here. Like, I think I'm gonna die at any moment. Like, this is how it ends. So it's just like, no, it's not how it works out. But I love that you said that though, because it's just not talked about.
Well, no one wants to talk about it because that to them is not motivational. It's negative. Like, why do you want to talk about the hard things? You know what I mean? Like, they want to talk about the good things and they want to show off their bodies and be like, you can look like me. And it's like, they need to know, especially like a lot of people nowadays, man, like they need to know where to start.
Yes.
You know, like, and here's the thing, like, if you could take anything out of what I've said, this is hands down the key to any goal you have, whether it is life or in fitness. It is consistency. Okay? What I went through so many challenges and obstacles and barriers, but I never quit. I never gave up. And although it was not easy at times, and maybe I got stopped by fear or whatever it may be, I might have stopped for a moment's time, but I got back on that horse and I kept going. And that's what I think the problem is. Anybody, this is what I don't get it. Anybody could start. Like, whether you want to gain weight, compete, lose weight, whatever it is, you could start. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and I'm going to start this new diet tomorrow. And they start. The week later, they quit because they don't see results. But it's like,
well, you read my mind. You totally just read my mind, because I was going to say, well, then what do you tell the person who is great at starting, but then they're that typical person, because we all know those people where they start something and then 2 weeks later they write something online, or they tell people like, dude, I fell off the bandwagon. Now I got to wait again to start, in like all these different types of ways that they're not intentionally trying to put themselves down, but that's what they're basically doing. Instead of like lifting yourself up, you keep on kicking yourself when you're down. So what would you say to somebody who's coming up to you and being like, man, I just fell off the bandwagon. I know what to do, but once again, I'm at this point. Give me some advice.
Okay. This is so crazy because I just had this conversation with one of my doctors.
Love it.
She comes up to me and she could tell I'm into fitness. I'm an active guy. I like to portray myself as an active and healthy guy. And like I said, I love spreading the gifts of life and fitness. So I obviously, I love talking about fitness. I love it. It always comes up in conversation. And she goes, it's hard for me to stay consistent. I could do it during the week. I'm at work, but then on the weekends, my girlfriends want to go out and, they want to eat, go out to drink. And this is the key, dude. This is the key. Okay. Yet you need consistency, but you also need, once you start, you need to build momentum. That is the icing on the cake with starting. So once you have think about this, okay? Once you have momentum, like I can give you a perfect example. Okay, perfect example. When I realized how negative drinking was affecting me in my life and even my fitness goals, it was on my birthday almost 4 years ago. Okay. I quit. I took my last sip of alcohol, and I'm coming up on 4 years sober.
Oh, good for you.
And here's the thing. I quit drinking because it was not good for me emotionally and mentally, right? But now I just don't do it because, one, it's not really a part of my life. I don't think about it anymore. But two, I want to continue this momentum. It makes me proud. And when I'm proud, I'm happy. So this is a huge extreme. So let's bring it back to fitness. How proud and happy will you be 2 months down the road, 2 years down the road? Like, once you feel like you don't even need to see results, okay? You don't even need to see results. If you could just focus on enjoying the process and building this momentum, the results will come. There's no doubt about it. It's impossible for them not to come. If you stay consistent and build momentum, it builds a sense of pride and happiness. Like, yes, people will go out to eat and they are enjoying that food, but it's a temporary happiness. How many times do you go out to drink or you go out to eat and the next day you go, man, I'm never drinking again? Or, oh man, I shouldn't have ate that.
Like all the time. That's what everyone says,
That's what everybody says. Yep. But now if you build this momentum, and let's just say like with the doctor,
sure.
For a couple weeks, tell your girlfriends you can't go out that weekend. And you then eventually, so this is 1 weekend, she says, I can't go out. That's already now, because her problem is the weekends, she's already built up 2 weeks of momentum. 2 weeks of a clean diet, no drinking, and I bet you $1 million that she feels good about that.
Oh, of course. And that's something that's also not really talked about so much, is this like that mental clarity. Even if it's not like, your biceps have grown or now your abs are poking out, just a fact that you're waking up being like, wow, I actually feel good. I don't feel like I'm gonna have this hangover or that like I'm clutching my stomach because I'm so full I'm gonna explode, because we've
Yep.
all been there easily.
Yep.
And time again, like when I have cheat meals, I definitely still feel like that one. But man, just it is something, something else too, which you mentioned about before, where I want to bring that back. You were saying originally where fitness wasn't like the entire answer to everything. And on the flip side, I want to be like, well, I think it kind of could be. Like, we could argue that it can be just because of how much it can change everything from the consistency we've been talking about to type of improving your mental stability to, you name it, your emotional well-being, your support, it will change all of that.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, for sure, but everybody's different. Maybe,
True.
you know what I mean? Maybe they don't have these problems, and let's just, but fitness will only better it. It will, because like you said, it gives you that mental clarity. It gives you just this feeling of well-being. And when you feel good, you are happy.
Yep.
And that's why I say, like, healthy is happy. Like it, and like, even if let's just say you were the happiest man or woman on earth, there's always room for more. There's always room for improvement. And now you're not only the happiest, but now you're the healthiest. And now that makes you even more happy. Like, we all have potential. And the greatest thing about potential is it's not a destination. There is no saying I reached my potential. That's why, like you said before, like I'm competing still, and I'm still learning, because I know that I don't know everything, and I never will. But if I could just continue to reach my potential, that's all that matters.
And that's incredible, because I think, as far as for any of my friends go, I think you are the most ripped person I've ever met in my entire life. And you're still learning, and you are just constantly like, wait, what body fat percentage are you now? Like -5? Like, dude, you're always so freaking shredded all year. I'm like, man, how does he do it? But of course, consistency, diet, super hard work, years of lifting, obviously. But man, every time I see you post your body fat percentage because you get it tested, it's just like,
Yes.
my God, like, how is he down to, what was it? It was like 3 point something the other day, 4%.
The lowest I've been was 3.2.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Right now, I'm trying to give myself a break. I'm giving my body a break. I'm at, I want to say, about 10, 11 right now.
Oh, okay.
And it's only because, again, but like, that's not unhealthy. You know what I mean? I know what unhealthy is. And in fact, where I'm at is obviously a lot healthier than 3.2. Yes, I'm proud of 3.2, but I know it's not a healthy way, and it's not sustainable.
Sure. No,
But
of course. Because that's
so
basically competition mode 24/7, which is
yes,
just fry your immune system. And oh, yeah.
it's havoc on your body. It looks good. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. It looks
Right.
good, but it's not good on the inside. And I want to go back to the consistency part, and sort of building this momentum for people, because
Sure. Sounds great.
I want them to understand something. So when they build momentum, right, and they are now becoming more proud of themselves, more happy with their life and where they're at and their progress, it also, not only does this kind of build like this sort of motivation for yourself, it gives you freedom. And you said cheat meal, right? It gives you freedom to have a cheat meal, to have a cheat day, to have whatever it is. And the best thing about it, okay, if you are consistent, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
This whole fact of when you wake up the next day and say, I shouldn't have had that, doesn't exist anymore, because you've become so consistent that one day or one cheat meal is not going to affect your body. So
Absolutely.
not only is it not going to affect you physically, but now it's not going to affect you mentally. You could still have that mental clarity and still have that indulging and treating yourself and having fun and going out with your friends, and not like all when your other friends wake up the next day with a hangover and wishing they never did that, and feeling like crap. You wake up and say, that was my treat. That was sort of my trophy of being so consistent this past week or the last month or whatever it is. So you it now, like, so when people are doing it for a week and they end up cheating, going out, whatever it is, and like you said, they give up because they, you know what, at this point, forget it. I've only done it for a week and now I've already, but if they've done it for a few months, it it takes that away. It's like one day is not going to affect 3 months of hard work. So let's just keep going. Let's just keep moving on.
I didn't believe that at first too, because you read that and people will talk about it, and you're like, man, I don't know. I think I should still be like 100% on game, because what if something happens? And then I was like, you know what? I'm a human being. I definitely still want to have a cheat meal here and there. And you're right. Even at the lowest body fat percentage that I ever got down to, when I was just, well, I'll never be as shredded as you. Give me some years. I'll get there.
I totally believe in you.
But eventually, yeah, eventually I'll get there, man. But at my own personal best for my lowest body fat percentage, I still had a cheat meal a weekend, and I was going for it. I was like, what will happen? I have no idea. I'm like, I'm just gonna consume as much as I can, eat to my heart's content, and then, like you were saying, didn't have any regret the following day. Still went to the gym, pushed as hard as I could, and my weight didn't change at all. It's like, like everything that I know about is basically becoming a lie in front of me, as I just had, pizza, ice cream, and a burger. And yet this next day, I still look exactly the same. It's like that.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, it's like that mind bending reality of like, wait, I can have my cake and eat it too. Like, you sure? Because everything I'm seeing online tells me to eat chicken, broccoli, and brown rice until I hate myself.
So,
like, yeah. That's the meal, man.
So people diet so hard, and I do some online coaching on the side just to help people. And the one thing I preach more than anything is, do not diet too hard, because you're setting yourself up for failure. You need to have these treats. You need to treat yourself, and that is what's going to build sustainability. We live in a world of restaurants, fast food, treats, cupcakes, all this stuff. We want to have it, but we don't want to. We need to find a balance where it's not just an everyday food. It's a treat. It's a, like I said, it's a, figuratively speaking, it's a trophy for your hard work. And you don't have to, again, worry about it, because you are continuing to build this momentum, build this consistency, and you're going to still see results. But one thing that I can't preach more of is having patience. It's key, man. It's key. If you don't have patience, like I said, the people that quit a week or two in a diet, they're impatient. And being impatient only is setting yourself up for failure.
Absolutely. And I've talked about this before too, on a different episode of the podcast, of talking about how we live in a society where we have now grown and adapted to making everything lightning fast. But the body doesn't work like that. No. There's no Amazon Prime to make me ripped faster. There's no Netflix for it. And you're like, well, why not? Because everything else in my life is now faster. I'm multitasking more. I have basically you have the world in your hand with your phone to find out literally anything at the speed of light. But your body still is just like, nah, man, I'm not. No.
It also,
it's not how it works.
Also, there would be no pride or satisfaction in yourself if it was quick.
Sure.
Your sense of happiness is just magnified when you go through struggle and challenges and put in the hard work, and you see that even just a pound, you put in the hard work, that 1 pound is 100 pounds to you, because you know how hard you worked, what you had to do to it, the time it took. And that alone right there is, again, another sort of trophy to your hard work.
Absolutely. Especially when you're trying to bust through a plateau and you're stuck on that 1 pound and it just won't go away. And then when you finally get it to go down, then everything keeps on rolling. but you're stuck at that one stupid number on the scale every day, and you're like, dude, I'm just gonna throw a scale out my window if this doesn't go down.
Yeah, and
And then,
that's
oh,
the mentality of someone that is impatient.
yep,
You know what I
yep.
mean? Like I said, if you just be patient and have consistency, I'm giving everybody the equation to success right now.
You sure are.
Like it's obviously easier said than done, but it just feels and means so much more when you achieve your goals. If it's easy, you just there's no appreciation, there's no pride, there's no real happiness.
It's the whole thing we've talked about this before offline, but basically it's just like, well, if you think about it, if everybody could get ripped, they would be ripped. And then you're like, well, then it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Where's your accomplishment? Where's your sense of pride? Where's your sense?
Exactly.
That comes with
Yep.
everything. And we're talking about too, as far as with confidence. And you even mentioned before about how you were nervous of public speaking and getting in front of people. And I could say personally, fitness has changed all of that. Like I've already had to become a confident person since I'm so short. Like this had to come out of me since I'm like 5'6" and weigh nothing. So it's like I had to find something, to make me kind of stand out from the crowd. So confidence is what eventually came out of public speaking. But as soon as everything started hitting in a row with fitness, or I'm hitting these different milestones, all of a sudden I was just like, dude, I've never done this before. Why not try this? Like this podcast would have never happened. Like, you kidding? Like that would have never happened. I'm sure Fitness Diaries would have never happened if it wasn't for your consistency and hard work. And it will change so many things. It's that amazing domino effect of positivity that just keeps on going as far as you're changing your behaviors.
With all of this fitness journey we're on, we obviously continue to have new goals. But one of the best things about all of these things is, like you're saying, is while you're achieving these goals that you are like have your eyes set on in the future, you are now reaching these other goals you never even thought possible.
Yes.
So like not only are you just achieving the main goals you have, but now you have these handful of goals. Like I could look up right now in my room and I can see all of my trophies. I have them up there, but those are just a piece. Those are just a piece of the hard work and that one goal. Like my goal is not to have a trophy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to talk down to them. I look up and I'm again proud, but it's these chapters in my life that I've reached. Like I reached the goal of placing in, these different competitions, but also my physique, my knowledge, the things I've learned, those are also goals.
Of course.
So, I mean, you're just, and again, it goes back to potential. There's no set destination number, whatever it is. There's no set goal that is going to be your potential. It's a unlimited thing that you could achieve.
Yeah, man. I love that. I love that so much, just because it is exactly how you describe of one thing leads to another, to another, to another. And then now, like you're saying, you're looking up on your wall and you have how many competitions have you done? 4, 5?
7.
7. Okay, just kidding. Whatever, man. But to picture and to hear from everything that you came from, what you went through to now, you can look up on your wall and see 7 times in your life you stood up on stage, the most shredded you'll ever be, and to be able to have that achievement. And then that led to obviously
Yes.
Fitness Diaries coming from it. You were talking about how you do macro coaching, and now you're helping out other people, and now you're positively impacting others, which is why off air I'm going to make you do a podcast. Side note. Because you have such a strong message that every time I hear you talk, or I read that you're writing, I'm always just like, oh my God, this guy has to get in front of people and just basically talk and say everything that is on his mind, just because there's all these gold nuggets that I'm really hoping that the people who are listening to this podcast are just taking down at least mental notes or writing notes in their phone or whatever it is, because you've dropped so many hints that people would pay so much money to hear from somebody who's like a quote unquote expert in the field. And here you are right here standing up on this pedestal being like, here's what I did to literally go from out of shape to now the best I possibly can be at this moment, but guarantee I'm going to conquer more.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if they could take that away, and like, I'm not just in the best shape of my life in these certain chapters of my life, but it's not just physical, man. It's emotional. It's mental. I
Yes.
grow in these
Yes.
things. I grow stronger. I grow smarter. And that's why I not only show my physique with these pictures, I put my thoughts and feelings on the paper, because they need to know that it's not just physical. Fitness is not just physical. It is everything, man. It betters you in so many aspects of your life. And I don't think people share that enough. And I wish they did, because I think we'd have a much stronger community.
Of course. Of course. Just imagine what it can lead to if you, yeah, and even if you say, like, say, for instance, you go to the gym several days a week, you like it, you dig it. Well, then what adventure can you go do next? Are you going to go kayaking? You're going to go hike a mountain? You're going to do whatever? Like, you are preparing yourself mentally and physically to go keep on conquering more things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah, I can't imagine not using that, where you're creating all this momentum and then being like, well, I'm just going to go back to a gym. Like, no, go do more. Like, you can do so much more.
That right there is living your life to the fullest, man. It's
exactly.
And you could do this because of fitness. If, let's just say, you're overweight, you drop 30, 40, 50 pounds, you can now ride a bike up a hill without being winded. Like, now you are allowing yourself to live life to the fullest. Taking on these new adventures, these new goals, going to new places, doing new things. And it's all because you decided and you made a commitment to your health and your fitness.
That's it. Golden words right there, brother. All right, man. So I definitely want to hit upon this, since I do have on the line with me, a natural bodybuilding champion, and who has done years and years of all this work. So for the people who are listening, I think we've now like hit home like super million time over about how fitness can help you.
Yes.
What about for the people who, I think of people who are our age, where they know what to do as far as with diet, with exercise, but they can't get to that next level. So it's like they're drinking their water, they're making sure to eat their fruits and vegetables and everything else as far as for those food categories, but they can't seem to up their game as far as for just taking it to that next step, the next commitment, the next whatever you want to say. What piece of advice could you give to somebody who's in that position?
We, as human beings, are slaves to our minds. So let's just say you are stuck in a rut. You're only stuck in a rut in your head, and you have only one perception that you can see. And like I said, you're stuck in a rut, or you want to take it to the next level. You know what to do, but you don't have that extra push or whatever. Seek out a coach. Talk to people. Communicate, man. I'm telling you, communication is key, and it's such a powerful tool we have, especially in fitness. If you know what to do and you want to take it to the next level, make friends with somebody that's already has competed for years. Just make friends with them. We're all going to the gym for, pretty much the same reason. No one's going to hate you for talking to them. I think to get an outside perspective, now you are opening your mind. You're no longer a slave to your mind. You are opening it up and listening to another perception, another perspective. And I think that right there, it might not be everything, but I'm telling you right now, it's a big piece to that next transition you have in your fitness journey.
Couldn't agree more, man. Could not agree more. I think what you're speaking to with everything with communication is also just finding your community and finding your tribe and finding your people of just who is going to be there for you that you can talk to somebody about. And I've found that. So this was absolutely detrimental for my own personal journey of finding a group of guys online who are doing the same workout program that I was doing. But I think what's also kind of funny is that even when we say communication, as basically as evil as social media can be in all these different avenues, there are plenty of good things from it too. People are supporting you on your journey for social media, and I found a group of people too who were doing the same thing I was doing, who helped support me through every step of the way. And that is, I couldn't agree more. That if I didn't have that, I'd be stuck, hands
It's
down.
like I said, man. It is so powerful. It is so powerful. In my perspective, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have Fitness Diaries behind me. I'm not like, as much as I want to motivate and inspire, I'm a human too, man. I have my downtimes, I have my failures, I have my fears. And it's because of the community I have on Fitness Diaries that has allowed me to push forward and motivated me and inspired me to keep going.
100%, brother. 100%. Man, we already been through this for like an hour or so. Can you believe that?
Dude, when two dudes are talking about something we're so passionate about, like I said, I could talk forever about this.
I know.
And I've only touched base on just my life and my fitness journey, and the things I've learned. There's so much more, and that's why Fitness Diaries is not going away anytime soon. I still have so much to achieve and so much to share that it's just, like I said, it's almost like reaching a new that potential. It never ends.
Never. It never ever ends. And all of your posts too, if you go back to like the very first one, even all the way up till now, they still have that same consistent vibe and message that you've been trying to talk about like all evening. It's the same type of consistent message that talks about support and love and empowerment, motivation, discipline, how you go through different struggles. Like it's still there. It's never been like, oh, dear diary, today was boring. Click. No, it's always.
It's because although my life and my fitness journey has changed, like there's so many things. Like I lived in New Hampshire, I moved to Maine, now I live in Arizona, and fitness has been there this whole time. And I've done different competitions. I've worked with different coaches. There are so many things that have changed, but the tone in Fitness Diaries has not changed because my passion has not changed. My passion for life in fitness has not changed. It's there. It will always be there. So when you read my stuff, I want you to not just learn and read. I want you to feel it.
Absolutely. And you do. You certainly do. There's no doubt about it. And for anyone who has, I'm just going to throw that caveat out there. Anyone who has that type of excuse of being like, oh, I don't have time, I can't do this. You were still working out as you cross the freaking country. I remember seeing posts of you going into this random visiting gym. I'm like, you kidding me, dude? You're still working out while traveling.
Gyms are everywhere. There's no excuse anymore. Gyms are everywhere. They all have day passes.
Yep.
I would park my U-Haul in the parking lot in the middle of nowhere, and I would go to this random gym, and all I did was Googled nearest gym to me. Right. That's it. Right. Yep. That's it's not impossible. Like,
I know.
It's the difference between making the commitment and not making it.
Yes.
We are the sum of our choices, man. We are the sum of our choices. We are where we are and who we are because of the choices we make. I don't have these trophies because I chose not to stick to my diet, hit my workouts every day, hit my cardio every single day. I have these trophies because I chose to do that, no matter what happens. Know what is the most inspirational thing to me? When I'm at these competitions and they're talking, they're kind of sharing the background of these competitors, and I hear, single mom with 3 kids with 2 jobs. She's on stage and she's shredded.
Yep. Yep.
Like, if she can do it, man, anybody could do it. And then nowadays you're starting to see the handicapped people who are in wheelchairs that are just shredded from the waist up.
Mm-hmm. There's a whole division of that now, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. No, there's absolutely no excuse. There's a guy who's at my gym every single day, and he is his leg was amputated, and he's there every day on the elliptical. He's literally running with one leg, and I'm like, dude, this is for anyone who has an excuse. I'm like, look at this guy. He's a monster.
I have my story. My upbringing was very hard. I've had my struggles. I've had my pain and hardship, but I also know, and again, I have this stuff, but I never gave up. But I also know there are people worse off than me, and they're still in that gym, and they're working out, and they're dieting, and they're eating healthy, and they're happy.
They're there, man. Especially too seeing what comes to mind is Furious Pete.
Yes.
He's gotten over cancer like 3 times and still working out every day. Like, man, that guy is so inspiring. If you've never heard to the audience, if you've never heard of Furious Pete before, you have to look up this guy. His story is incredible, from competitive food eater who overcame cancer to now power lifter to he is just amazing. Absolutely an amazing story. So nope, it's out there, man. It's absolutely out there. And speaking, actually, that's a great point too. Speaking of different things of people who have overcome injuries and past and whatnot too. You recently suffered an injury and you're still pushing through. I'm seeing you every single day, and you're still going through everything. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, of how you've been trying to overcome this situation?
Since I moved to Arizona, I have had back problems and stomach problems. And to this day, after 100 blood tests, scans, all this stuff, medications, diet changes, all of this stuff, I still don't know exactly what's going on. I still have back pain. I still have stomach pain. And the one thing is that has kept me going is I know what hard is. I know what challenging is. And if I could get through what I've got through, I could get through this, man. Like, I could get through this. Yes, there are days, man, like I'm in so much pain, and I have to take the day off. And it kills me because, again, like, I love going to the gym. It's my release. It's my escape. It's my second home, pretty much. But just because I can't go one day doesn't mean it's over. It does not mean game over for me. And that's where patience comes in, man. Like, I've been so patient because I know that if I just keep fighting, I'll get there. I'll get there. And and another thing is, I respect myself and my body too much to just give up. And I think that's a lot of people need to realize that too, is don't start dieting, don't start lifting weights because you hate where you are. That's not the way you should be looking at it. You start because you love who you are and you want to reach your potential. You want to be better. You want to love yourself more. Don't do it because you hate yourself, because that, again, you're setting yourself up for failure.
That's it, man. That's the message. We're going to close out on that, brother. I can't think of anything else, because that is something that people need to hear, because I think that's so real. That's such the turning point whenever somebody is saying like, oh, I need to go start being healthy now because I looked in the mirror and now I'm like, ugh, how did I let myself get to this point? And then that's what starts it up, and it leads to that roller coaster of emotions. So from just saying of just that empowerment, once again, of trying to get better, of giving it all you got, to being consistent, patience, time, everything of a sort, so eventually you basically can transform everything physically, mentally, spiritually. You can just basically become a whole new person.
And a whole new person, but a better person.
Yes.
Like we have talked. We've talked over an hour now, and
we sure have.
And again, like, I've shared a lot. You've shared a lot. We talked a lot, but I want to end like this, man. Like, I want this conversation, whoever's listening, I want them to take it all in. Listen to what we are saying because we are real. We mean it. We've been through this. We're speaking on experience.
It's true. We've been there. We're tangible people. We're real. We're not.
Yep.
We're not fake. You can literally see us.
Yes. Yep.
Cool, brother. Well, I'm going to put all of your handles for everything in the show notes, but do you just want to rattle them off real quick, or where people can find you on the interwebs?
Yes, definitely. It's very consistent. It's Fitness Diaries ME. So my Instagram is Fitness Diaries ME. Facebook is obviously facebook.com/Fitness Diaries ME, and the same thing with YouTube. It's /Fitness Diaries ME. And the funny thing is, let me just throw this out there. A lot of people, and I guess there's kind of like a second meaning to it. The ME is not, it doesn't stand for me. Although, yes, I'm sharing my experience, my story, my fitness journey. I actually put ME because I started Fitness Diaries in Maine.
Oh, why it was me. I was like, Minister, okay, I guess like it involves me, so that's why it's in there. That was my guess.
Yeah, there's sort of a second meaning to it, but that is the core reason why there's an ME at the end of Fitness Diaries.
Easy enough. Well, a whole bunch of our listeners are from the New England area, so it's easy enough to remember.
Yes.
That's too funny. All right, brother. Well, once again, thank you so much for your time, for coming on the show, sharing your story. I'm so inspired right now. Like, I wish I was going to the gym, even though it's 9 p.m. right now. I'm like, really need to go to bed. But at this point, I'm just like, oh man, I'm ready to tackle whatever. Like come on, bring it on, man. Let's do this.
Man, I appreciate you having me on here, man. Like, I have been so excited for this. I'm just so grateful that I could be the first guest on your podcast, man. It's a privilege, and I seriously, I appreciate it so much.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. We need to have you back on again for another thing. We've only covered so far some of the stories and whatnot, but we can definitely have you come back on and just talk about certain different types of workout styles to diets to whatever it is.
Yes.
There's so much misinformation out there. So for two dudes who just know their stuff, who are just going to lay it out for you in plain English, we can hit home plenty of things.
Dude, let's do it. Let's do it. We'll plan on it.
I love it. First of many. All right, everybody. You can find more about the show at ironuniversitypodcast.com, as well as for everything else is all on side of that one website. Thanks so much. Once again, Mike, thanks so much for coming aboard. Until next time, brother. Take care. I'll talk to you later, man. Well, that was my interview with Mike Witham from Fitness Diaries. Mike is such an inspiring person who strives to create motivating content, so give his pages a like. He also discussed a very personal story and his struggle with suicide, so if you or anyone you know are facing the same struggle, you can reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Once again, my number is 1-800-273-8255. This is my first of many interviews lined up for the Iron University podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe and give it a 5-star rating. As always, you can find all of our information over at ironuniversitypodcast.com. Until next time, take care.